Okay, this is basically all that I can show of the park, but it's definitely enough for reasons that I'm not going to explain. That's it. That is the park. That's the first one, and then you've got two others that I want to show. I was thinking of doing a brief session at all of them, but I've got places to be and things to do, so I think it's just I'll have much longer sessions when I'm here. But that's the first one out of the three, and then I plan to go to the other two, but if I don't, and I'll just go later. But now I know this park, it seems to be pretty hidden. However, for future reference, now I know how to get around. So this is definitely one of the many parks that I'd be able to go to that is convenient for me. So I'm not going to try out the parks as I said. I'm just going to go around and just travel, and then from there, maybe like less than a month later, I'll come back and have some proper sessions. Yeah, like proper body weight and sessions with the bars. The pull-up bars you got there, it looks like they set up like monkey bars too and all that stuff, so I can definitely do that. It seems like I'll be able to use those in particular, those bars, those handles for like pull-up progressions too and that stuff. But anyway, that's it for now, and on to the second park I go. Yeah, as I was right, I was saying you could use the handles for like pull-ups, so that's the sort of stuff I was talking about. But then you got squats as well. You could do bicep curls as well, which I think that guy's doing. Those sorts of pull-ups as well. Yeah. Okay, this is from 2 days after. According to the clock on the laptop, it's 2:18 p.m. and it's the 6th of August. So my plan was to go and film in 2 other parks. Now, although I really wanted to do that and I was serious about that, I didn't, because I had a whole load of other things that I needed to do, and I thought that these other things that I needed to do were much more important than going to these other 2 calisthenics parks. Wait, hold on. Yeah, that will do. Yeah, fine. Okay, so it's blinking again. Anyway, I'm just going to talk regardless. So yeah, there were 2 other calisthenics parks that I wanted to go to, and very unfortunately I didn't, and that was just, as I said, because I had other places that I thought I needed to go to more than these other 2 calisthenics parks. Saying that, I have now gone to 2 different places that are relatively close by to where I'll soon be living, and I don't think I'll need to go to any other different parks than that, in terms of just having not even necessarily the bare minimum, but more than enough to be able to have amazing workouts there, both with body weight exercises without bars whatsoever, because there's more than enough space to do that, and also with the bars, with the dip bars that they've got at these 2 parks. Actually, in fact, that's excluding one at the place that I went to on during late July. I don't remember, maybe a couple of weeks ago or so, in that same area, but just not within that part of the park. There are different bars that I could use, like pull-up bars, different pull-up bars and different dip bars. So I want to go and find those before I say that place in particular doesn't have any bars. But in the place that I went to, I forgot which daily log it was, but I can go out my way to find out. I'm going to do that now. I should be able to find it relatively easy if I go into the community posts, so I'll just do that, because I know I made a post saying that it's up. Day 575, that's the log I'm talking about. Now, on day 575, part 3 of 3. In this log, I was finding it really difficult to do dips, because the bar went like this rather than like this, running by my side. It ran to the side in front of me, which made it unnecessarily difficult to do dips, I think. Now, although there might be dip bars in this part of the park, I've seen a different place where I'd want to go to within that same park, where there are conventional dip bars, I'll call them, which run along your side. When I do move though, I'll be going to these different places I haven't yet gone to, and I'll record my experiences there. I think I might, just like how I've done with this video, I might just record a quick tour of what's around, and then I'll go and start exercising in all of these different places. And as I've written for the description of this video, I have no problem that I didn't do any exercise at this park, even though I planned to, because I had done a lot of physical activity by this point. I had done, I think, maybe anywhere from 10,000 steps to, even at max, maybe even 12,000 steps. I think that might have been too much relative to when I went there, but I would not be surprised if I did 12,000 steps, because I was really going about, and that's excluding the fact that I went about cycling here and there a little bit. It was a lot. I really did a lot. So all of this calisthenics footage that I'd be filming would be when I move, and then I'd start to have a more effective workouts eventually, especially as I'm now going out my way to persist and enjoy the workouts that I do, because I've done some introspection, and I believe that although the anger I had toward my mum telling me that I wasn't doing anything, with the connotations I wasn't doing anything with my life or doing anything worthwhile that helped me get to a point where I was of economic value to anyone, myself included, I don't think that what I'm trying to say is, I think those feelings of anger and what I called fury, because of how long I've been acting on those feelings of anger for maybe since April last year, maybe 1 year and 4 months. I think that was a whole load of fury. And what the point I wanted to make is, I think acting on feelings of anger, particularly just to, in my mind, prove my mum wrong, that I am doing something, not to use that anger to make myself perform at a high level, but to just have something to show for the day, as I'd say, can only I think get me so far. I can only get myself so far with that way of thinking. And I'm now getting to a point where I've done that introspection, and I'm now transitioning to making videos and just exercising, not out of anger, but rather out of joy and actually liking what I'm doing, rather than creating a workout plan each day every now and then to prove to myself that my mum was wrong about that claim. She didn't, in my mind. I think another part as to why I feel so angry about her saying that, beyond the fact that she would just say that to her son, is the fact that during those times when she would say such things, she didn't, at least from my perspective, go out of her way to ask if I am actually doing anything that would be worthwhile. She would just make that assumption. And in my mind, like how I thought back then, which I still think now, I think that way of thinking is rather small-minded, that just because you don't necessarily see something doesn't mean that it's not happening. However, to get, actually no, I was going to say to get back to the main topic of the video, but in terms of exercise, this is very much relevant to exercise as my exercise journey as a whole, because that fury I had and that I built off hearing my mum say that again and again, and also just from feeling angry toward my parents over certain things, and just needed to process my emotions and certain things here and there. I mean, sometimes I say those feelings were justified, and it is okay to feel angry, even though they might make it seem like that's not the case. I'd like to, and I have, I'd like to carry on going out my way to clarify that that can, I think, only get me so far. Those feelings could only get me so far, especially if I'm just using them not to perform at a high level, but to just have something to show for each day. Instead, I don't even need to, I think I don't even need to use that at all as a reason. I can just do it because I enjoy it, and because I'd be using that fuel, I think that was a part of why I wouldn't really enjoy the workouts, and why I wouldn't have any sort of enthusiasm, and why I wouldn't want to do the exercise at all, really, especially after experiencing what I think is skill decay, when whereby I'd be able to perform at a certain level with push-ups, for example, being able to do 10 reps with ease, and then find it difficult to do 1 rep with ease after a few days. Yeah. However, I'll say that's it. I'll leave it there. Outside of just saying this last note, there is a lot. I'm going to show a lot of Calisthenics Parks footage, and just footage of me being outside. I found that when I go out and go and travel, that I was just really, really enjoying myself going out, seeing different things, and also not being in what I'd consider quite the miserable environment, as I hear my parents complain so often. Like, I genuinely don't think I'm exaggerating when I say I'd hear them complain every single day, and that's not an environment that I'd want to be in. And I think I'd purposely focus on that sort of negativity, or my perception of that. I'm going to try that again. I think I'd purposely focus on that sort of negativity, and even if I were to think of the other side, like their civil side and their friendly side to me and other people, for example, although I might briefly acknowledge it, I'd undermine it, because that they do have that part to them too. But I think I'd focus on what I consider to be their negative side, and how I wouldn't focus on how I wouldn't want to be treated, how they treat me in ways I wouldn't have wanted to be, how I wouldn't want it to be treated, because that was what I'd use as fuel to carry on going, and to actually keep on doing what I'd claim I'd want to do seemingly from a rational perspective on a daily basis, through exercising on a daily basis. But I wouldn't do that. It's just, I just don't function in the same way people like maybe Kobe Bryant and those guys would function with anger. Kobe Bryant, it seems, when you talk about stories of being in Italy and using basketball as a means to show that he is actually worth being a part of the group, he'd use that anger toward that prejudice, I think he was describing in videos here and there, prejudice he experienced from those Italian kids to perform at a high level against them. I wasn't doing that. I was just using the anger I had towards my mum saying, "Oh, you're not doing anything," to just perform or just do something of any kind, as I've said. But even with boxing, after an argument, I remember after arguments with my dad in particular, I'd feel so angry, I'd go and box, and I'd be swinging, I'd feel so angry, I'd be swearing so much at him in my mind. And even when I'd really be feeling furious at dad for things he might have said to me during the X argument, Y argument, whatever it is, I'd only really perform for at the punching bags and throwing punches at the punching bags for a couple of minutes, and that's excluding the fact that I wouldn't care for I wouldn't really care for developing my boxing abilities. I wouldn't really care for performance outside of doing things that I felt powerful, moves or punches that I felt powerful by doing, by like really hitting the bag and get making the punch sound as loud as it can, and try and get as much contact from punching the bag as I could in a way that I felt comfortable with. That's why I've clenched my face, not because I feel angry at this point anyway. But yeah, I'd like to carry on working through what I've been thinking about this sort of situation. I'd like to carry on working through this sort of motivation that I'd have toward carrying on and doing these exercise logs, just daily logs at the time, whether it's me exercising as I claim I want to do, or just me talking when I wouldn't want to do it, because I wouldn't be feeling enthusiastic about it at all, because my want to do it was based on feeling furious, on feeling angry, immensely angry, not because I actually liked what I was doing necessarily. I didn't make that a requirement. With all of that anger I felt, I genuinely don't think although from a rational perspective I could have known better, I really do believe I had and still have the sense to know better, but I just didn't go out my way to do better enough. I definitely did exercise because I liked it every now and then, or I at least enjoyed how I felt from doing it, but the main reason was out of anger. Yeah, to have something to show for today, to in my mind prove that my mum was wrong when she was saying I didn't do anything, I wasn't doing anything with my life, even though in her mind it might not have seemed like that were the case, because I wasn't, and still am not, of economic value to myself or anyone for that matter. But yeah, I'll leave it there. I'm sensing that I'm starting to get a headache. I did like this conversation that I've got with that I've had with myself. I did stutter a lot, and I apologize to myself for that, because I'd like to clearly get my thoughts out, but it's something I could definitely work on. And I sense, just looking at the camera, which I think I did more often than not, looking at the lens is a way I help myself with thinking more clearly. I'm even noticing that I wouldn't say when doing that. I let myself pause and get the words out coherently, at least more than, say, if my eyes were all over the place. I've been watching a whole load of videos. I won't get into what, but very basically, I sense that these people who would be having problems in their lives, it seemed like when they would be talking to the lens, their eye movement would be evasive of the lens. They'd be looking all over the place, basically every second that they'd be talking, particularly when they're saying something that they might not feel comfortable with, or if they are trying to go about speaking their perception of the truth in a way that they might think other people might not agree with or might not like, to the point where they might have who knows how many, potentially thousands or hundreds of comments saying, well, they're in the wrong for saying it that way, whatever it is. Yeah. However, I'm done now. I'm going to leave it there, because I've got a whole load of other videos that I have wanted and still want to get out. So I'm done. Cheers to moving forward in life and changing this fuel of fury that I had, particularly toward my mum saying that I'm not doing anything with my life, and getting to a point where I can allow myself to become more mentally healthy due to no longer using every single day to do things out of anger, because I'd really be feeling angry deep down. Peace. Cheers to moving on with that.